Hey guys, Mr. Money1235 here again. So, the internet today has been losing its shit over this fucking new Fall Out Boy track, the reunion song. And I just thought that I would kind of give in my little 2 cents here. Everybody knows that they've been on a hiatus for a long time now. Patrick Stump went off and did his own little solo stuff, and then Pete Wentz has been in his little electronic group called the Black Cards, which I actually like a whole lot. And they've been denying it forever, and now they're finally back together again. And before I really touch back on this thing again, I wanted to give a brief synopsis of what I thought about their albums, because somebody wanted me to do a discography review on them. And I'm going to be honest with you guys here. I don't think Fall Out Boy is the greatest thing since sliced bread. My experience with this band has been filled with a whole bunch of, wow, a whole lot of these songs sure do sound the same. I'm not a hardcore Fall Out Boy fan. If you ask me, Fall Out Boy has always been better in the singles category. I feel like a whole bunch of their deep cuts just don't get thought out as well. I feel like a whole lot of the deep cuts just kind of sound the same, and it's not something that I'm a huge fan of when bands do that. Let's do this album by album. For example, Take This to Your Grave is probably the biggest example of an album that I say this. This sounds so much like the standard debut album to me. It just sounds, a lot of the songs on this album just sound the same. I just can't get into it. I like the main song, Dead on Arrival, that was in Rock Band and all that stuff. I like that song. Like I said, it's just been about these singles for me. The huge standout hits are the ones that I really love, and the deep cuts are just ones that I can't get into. And I just think this is one of the worst offenders. I'm not really into this album. I don't care for it really that much. 2005, From Under the Cork Tree. I feel like this album is the one that fans normally praise as being their best one, and I'm not seeing it. I really like tracks 1 through 5 on this thing. I think those are really good, and I also really like the tracks 10 through 13, the rest of them. But I have to skip over that entire middle chunk of this album that I think has really not that great of quality to it, and I just cannot get into that either. Now, 2007's Infinity on High, this one's a little bit of a different story. I found the band being a tiny bit more experimental in this thing. I found a whole lot of different choruses, things that made the songs more memorable to me, things that stuck out a little bit more, and honestly, I actually like every song on this one. There's just some that I like more than others, but at the same time, I still like the whole thing, and it's really good. And like I said, I like music that does that. I like something that can stick out to me. I like to be able to look at the name of a song and actually hear it in my head before I listen to it. I think that's really good. It's really hard to make music like that, and I think Infinity on High actually does this pretty well. I like the style that's on this album. It just sounds better to me than what they've done. Simply put, Infinity on High is my favorite Fall Out Boy album, if I had to pick one. And then their next one, Folie Deluxe, I don't know how to say that right. Honestly, the only things I've heard from this album are Don't Care and America's Sweethearts. That's about the only thing that I've heard from this album, and I don't really care to listen to it. So no, I'm probably not going to like this band as much as the rest of the world likes this band. I just don't understand what people really see in them. I think there's so much better stuff in this category, but like I said, the songs that I like, I really, really fucking like, and I actually like that they're back together. I think that's really good for the people who love them. And honestly, I really like this song that they came out with. I personally am a fan of this. I'm really enjoying this. Like a whole lot of people have said, it kind of mixes in their solo material. I think the lyrics are a little bit dumbed down on this one though. I feel like there's a whole lot of repeating lines in this song. I feel like Fall Out Boy has been really good at creating really creative songs kind of, but this one here seems a little bit less so. But honestly, musically, I'm really digging this song actually. I kind of like how it sounds a little electronic in there too. It's bringing something a little bit different to the table and something that I think has a lot of potential. Do I love this song? No. Bringing something new to the table, and I really like that a whole lot too, but I'm just not going nuts and bolts over this song. Like I said, I'm not really the best person to talk about Fall Out Boy with. I don't care much about them as the rest of the world, but whatever, they're a pretty good band for what they do. I enjoy the songs that they play. I'm just not a huge fan of the deep cuts, and I love listening to bands with good deep cuts, and I just don't think Fall Out Boy works that hard on their other songs on their albums. Just doesn't sound like it to me anyway. So anyway, go ahead and hate me. I can honestly give 2 shits about what you have to say about me. See you guys on the other side. Mr. Money1235. See you guys later.